Plains Webinar Wednesdays, and we're excited today to be presenting the new Liberty Mark product available through Americo. We have Craig Rodemaker, CLU and CHFC. He's the Vice President of Sales for Legacy, and they're the brains behind this great new product. We're having a lot of excitement here in our office about this new fixed indexed annuity from Americo. And we're also excited about our partnership with Legacy. We're recording today's webinar as we always do, and we'll get that posted out at the website just as soon as we have it, hopefully later today. As always, I ask you to use the question dialog box. We don't open the phone lines. We want to respect your time and move through the presentation, but we will get any questions to Craig as we move along. Craig, what should we know about this new Liberty Mark opportunity?
Well, glad you asked, Rob, Brad, and thank you so much for allowing me the time today to get in front of your producers. Yeah, this is a new deal. Legacy's been around for over 20 years, obviously, but our new relationship with Americo is less than a month old, and this new product line, of course, is less than a month old. And I want to respect your time and get right into the nuts and bolts of it. First of all, I would like to say that this is our opportunity to bring our A game. Now, what in the heck do I mean by our A game? Well, three things. Americo starts with an A, highly rated carrier, you know, A-excellent rating from S&P, but most importantly, capital A and accumulation. Liberty Mark is all about accumulation. We're bringing back that conversation to your clients because I think there's an overwhelming demand for that, as has been in the past. You know, the revolution we've seen in the last couple of years with income riders kind of stole the show, but there really is this undercurrent of folks out there, including yourselves as agents, begging for something to bring back a great accumulation story, and that's really what Liberty Mark is all about. You know, Americo, in case you aren't familiar, I assume you are, but has a great rating in that A category. They're one of the largest independent privately held insurance groups in our country, based right in the Midwest, so they've got some Midwest values there in Kansas City. And they've been very good in markets like final expense, some forms of life insurance, mortgage term life insurance, for example. Not real well known in our space in the annuity world, and that really is the marriage between Legacy and Americo, is to bring our distribution and our product design expertise together with Americo's name and brand, and provide just a great opportunity for all of you. So good company, but what about the product? Great product, in my opinion. I'm going to actually start out with a summary of the product rather than saving it till the end, just to give you an idea of what I'm going to talk about this morning. This is an exclusive product that Legacy created for Americo, so you will need a Legacy agent number. And our friends at Great Plains can help you with that. You're also going to need an Americo agent number. You need both. But again, Great Plains can help you with that. As I mentioned, an A-excellent rating from S&P and AM Best. It has a dual bonus. That's a novelty in our industry. And the question for you is 5% plus 10% equals what? And I'll give you a hint. The correct answer is not 15%. So stay tuned for that answer. Several unique strategies in this index annuities. 4 of them are absolutely uncapped, no ceiling whatsoever. If you're one of those clients that just can't stand the idea of being capped on the upside, we've got a solution. But we do guarantee the downside with a strong minimum guarantee of at least 1% on your deposit. 1% on 100% of the deposit is the minimum baseline guarantee, worst case scenario. We do use what we call an optimizer fee, and that helps us provide and pay for upgrades. You get upgrades, caps, upgraded rates, upgraded performance, accumulation, you know, a stronger minimum guarantee, better compensation, not 1 but 2 bonuses. All these things are brought to you courtesy of this optimizer fee, and I'll share with you how that works in a moment. Full commission to the writing agent all the way through age 80 with no MVA, no secondary surrender charge schedule to have to deal with. And again, first and foremost, if you remember nothing else from this morning's presentation or this afternoon, this is a pure accumulation play. There is no income rider to think about. It's not even an option on the Liberty Mark. So Liberty Mark, single premium. It's not flow premium. It's a single deposit only. We're kind of branding this as our way to provide a revolutionary retirement, kind of the American branded theme there, if you will, to declare your financial independence. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a variety of things. Get my clicker to work here. I'm going to present it as if it were the client's Bill of Rights. And we got the right to choose, and a lot of choice here, right to a dual bonus, the right to optimize earnings, the right to diversify between several different strategies or capitalize on what's going on in the marketplace at any given time, the right to accumulate, obviously, and the right to capitalize on changing markets, and the right to underlying strong guarantees. So it's kind of the old Liberty Mark for all saying, if you will, going along with our theme here of financial independence. Let's take a look at each of these Bill of Rights for the client. The right to choose, what do I mean by that? Well, it's kind of like boots. You know, if everybody wanted the same thing, we would only have one color and one size. But obviously there's many sizes of boots, many shapes, many colors, maybe textures, you name it. So people do appreciate choice. With Liberty Mark, the choices are a 7-year product, a 10-year surrender charge product, a 10-year surrender in what we call the light states. Whenever you see LT at Legacy, that stands for the light states. And those are states that have some requirements when it comes to surrender charges that are a little more stringent. Those are states like Florida, Texas, Utah, Pennsylvania, Nevada, those kind of states. There's several of them. But we do have products in those states to accommodate the surrender schedules necessary there. We also have the Liberty Mark 10 Plus. That's the 10-year product plus the dual bonus. And then we have that same 10-year with the dual bonus in those light states. So a lot of choices here. I might just remind you that the 7-year product does not have an option for a premium bonus. It's only the 10-year versions that have the option for that dual bonus. But each of those options and every one of them have that choice of the same 7 unique index crediting strategies, 4 uncapped, and in addition to that, there's a fixed declared interest account that's paying somewhere around 2.25 up to 2.75, depending on which version of the product you select. So much higher than bank product rates right now if you just want to park it in a fixed vehicle for a year. Now, consumer right number 2, the right to dual bonus. This is the big deal. You might want to take special note of this, how this works. There's 2 premium bonuses attached to Liberty Mark. The first one is 5% upfront of whatever you put in. So you put in 100 grand, you got 105 churning up interest day 1. Then the second part is a 10% persistency bonus after the 10th year on the account value then. So it's not 10% of the initial deposit, it's 10% of whatever it's grown to in the 10th year applied in the 10th year. Now, if you do live in one of those light states that I mentioned earlier, the bonus on the persistency bonus is 8% in those states. But again, the big deal here is that 10% back-end bonus is like a boost on the accumulation value in year 10, and you could think of it as a bonus on top of the original bonus on top of all the earnings. So it can be substantial. Actually have a little example here for you. One of the strategies in this product is a U.S. real estate index, and if I look at the last 10 years, hypothetically, if we would have had this product 10 years ago, client puts in 100 grand right away, they get a 5% bonus or 5,000 bucks. And then over 10 years, the account value would have grown to almost $200,000, 196 grand. So we apply the 10% bonus then in the 10th year, which is another $19,600 a bonus. So my question to you is, the 5% plus 10% bonus, how much did we bonus this client? Well, if my math is right, over 24% of their deposit. We gave them $5,000 in year 1 and $19,600 in year 10. That's over $24,000 on a $100,000 deposit. You see where I'm going with how powerful this really can be? And this is a 10-year walk-away product. So, who knows how much your client's cash is going to accumulate to, and there's more than just one strategy, obviously, but this is extremely powerful when you want to talk about accumulation with your client. Consumer right number 3, the right to optimize. Now, this is how we pay for all these things. We charge a optimizer fee that allows the client to get access to a diverse range of all these different strategies, 4 of them uncapped, higher accumulation potential in varying markets, higher accumulation because of higher caps and rates, the dual bonus, the 1% on 100 minimum guarantee. All these things come into play courtesy of this optimizer fee. So how much is it? Well, the fee is an annual deduction of 1% from the account value if you choose the 7-year product, and 1.25% each year for any of the 10-year versions of the product, and that's applied at the beginning of each contract year. Now, Here's one way to position this with the client and with yourself perhaps that I think really makes a lot of sense. It's kind of genius when you think about it. We have a perfect scenario now where the carrier's interests and the client interests are perfectly aligned. Because what do all parties want? All parties want to make money. They want to accumulate wealth. Well, if the client has really good caps and rates and big bonus, they're going to accumulate money quickly. If the carrier charges an annual fee of 1% or whatever, they're going to accumulate money. It's almost like they're getting a trail commission every year. So the carrier is motivated to have the client accumulate a lot of money because it's in their interest and the client's interest. So what does that mean in real English? It means come renewal time, the carrier is really motivated to have really good renewal rates and caps. They want the client to make as much money as possible because they're kind of in it together. So it's just genius when you think about how these things really truly work. Consumer right number 4, the right to have diversity and to diversify. Like I said, there's 7 strategies plus a fixed account, and a lot of choice here. I mean, we've got the annual point-to-point with a cap. We've got a 2-year point-to-point with no cap, driven by a participation rate in the S&P. Then we have this thing called the risk control. I'll explain that in a moment. Then we bring in gold, just a commodity, you know, the annual raw price of gold, how it changes year over year. Then we have that real estate index with no cap. We have a blended average, blended monthly average, which is one of my favorites. I'll explain that in a moment. Again, no cap. And we even have an inversion strategy. And I'll let you think on that one, what that might be. I'm going to tell you in a couple minutes, but just think, what the heck is an inversion strategy? So 4 uncapped strategies out of the 7. And then the right to diversify, again, if I plug in the current caps and rates this month, May, in the 7-year, the 10-year, and the 10-year plus the bonus of all those different 7 strategies, as you can see, they're fantastic, especially the participation rates. You know, if you look around the competition, the landscape today in our industry, products that use a participation rate, many of those rates are down around 25%, 40%, maybe 50%. Whereas in this product, they're, you know, 60, 80, 95, even 105% participation rate. They're actually giving you more than the index returns. Well, how can they do that? Again, it's that optimizer fee allows them the latitude to do that. So let's talk about some of these strategies. You know, this right to accumulation, which is the big deal with Liberty Mark. We have a good old-fashioned annual point-to-point with a cap. You all know how that works. And the cap is up to 7.5% annually. In addition, we have the same thing, only a 2-year version of it, uncapped, driven by a participation rate as high as 80%. It kind of begs the question, well, which one is better, right? Where would you put your money, your client's money? Well, better is a tough word to get your arms around and to quantify, but I can give you an example. Let's compare. If we go back to the year 1990 through 2000, those 10 years, on the left-hand side is your result after 10 years applying a 7.5% annual point-to-point cap. Your money would have grown from 100 to almost 173,000. On the right-hand side of your screen is the 2-year point-to-point with no cap, but 80% participation rate, those same 10 years. Your 100 would have grown to 317. 83% more money in just 10 years by using the 2-year strategy, which is uncapped. Now that is significant. I think you'll agree with me. If it were your money, which side do you think you'd want your money in? Now, is that going to happen every 10-year period? Absolutely not. But my point here is I would just ask that you be open to change. There's 7 of these strategies here. Some of these you haven't heard of. Some are rather unique. There is power in this opportunity, though, if you just take the time to get to know it and do a little research and ask some questions and look at some examples. Because in this client's case, 83% more money in their pocket, you're going to look like a hero just based on which strategy you help them decide upon. Now, I mentioned we have a 2-year risk control, again, driven by a participation rate, uncapped. So what the heck is risk control? Well, the cap's as high as 105%. We're going to pay you more than it actually returns. And I don't claim to know exactly what it is. What I do know is that it tracks the S&P, and it's less volatile. It takes the peaks and valleys out of the S&P. And anytime you have less volatility, it's like this option is on sale to the carrier. They can pick it up for less investment or whatever. And so in return, they can provide you higher caps and rates hopefully better renewal rates and all of that. So there's smaller fluctuations in this risk control strategy. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here it is. The pink color is the actual S&P since 2000, up and down. That dark blue color is actually this risk control strategy. As you can see, it kind of walks in lockstep with the S&P in the same direction, but it isn't as volatile. Some of those peaks and valleys are taken out. So it's like a index on sale for the carrier, if you will. Higher participation rates. Then we have the gold strategy. Again, this one has a cap up to 7.5%. The good news is it really can act as a hedge for a small portion of the client's premium whenever there's real uncertainty in our world. It's good balance with the S&P 500. You know, everybody kind of knows what gold is. It's got a long track record in history. People tend to love gold. They can get their arms around it. It's like a tangible thing to people. And it truly is, in many cases in our economy, the flight to safety. I certainly wouldn't put all the clients' deposit into gold strategy because it can be extremely volatile, but there is a time and there is a place for gold. And I'll give you some examples here of when in the past gold made sense. You go back to 1973, 74, 75. Remember when gas was like 18 cents a gallon until the oil embargo hit and there was the energy crisis? Well, gold shot up in that period 44% when the S&P tanked because of that threat. 9/11, terrorist activity. Again, gold shot up when the S&P tanked. And then the war in Iraq, for example, in 2002, gold almost doubled in value when the S&P was down a little bit. So there's times when gold makes sense, and again, I would use that as a hedge play with your client and kind of educate them on why they may want maybe 5 or 10% of their deposit into gold for the what-ifs in life. And then real estate, another alternative to the S&P. And this is the Dow Jones U.S. Real Estate Index. It's not your mortgage and my mortgage. It's more corporately owned leases, corporate properties, real estate investment trusts, that kind of thing. But look at that participation rate. 95% of what this corporate real estate will do over the next year in this example with no downside risk. That's pretty remarkable. It's an alternative to the S&P, and I would ask your client, you know, what do you think real estate's going to do over the next 5 or 10 years? And maybe we should put a little bit in this strategy. Now, the other thing, how to set the client's expectation is going to be critical because there's a lot of choice here at these different strategies. And I'm very happy to report that Legacy has created a one-page piece on each of these 7 strategies that you can use as the agent at point of sale. I want to show you one right now. It's called the Real Estate Strategy Insert. Free to you from Legacy on our website. Print it off, take it with you. And what it does with each of the strategies, in this case it's real estate, it'll show how it would have done in the last number of years in up markets, mixed markets, and down markets. And then always on this insert will show the minimum contractual guarantee, and that's the number in red there at the bottom. So the worst case, you start with 100 grand, 10 years later you're going to have over 110 grand. But then if the market is down, mixed, or up, you can see what the results would have been. In this case, it's assuming a 90% participation rate. Remember, ours is 95% now, but to be fair, I mean, we just had to pick a number that seemed, it's going to go up and down over the years, but here's one that's relevant. So it's very nice that you can have one of these inserts to set some kind of level of, how did it do in the past, or how might I expect my money to do thing with each of those strategies. Now, the 3-year blended monthly average is one of my favorites just because I think you can tell a story around this. Good agents are good storytellers, I found. So how does this one work? You pick this one strategy and you actually get 3 indices. You get the S&P, gold, and real estate. All 3 are combined in this one choice. And then we take a 3-year window and monthly average it to smooth out the volatility and apply a participation rate with no cap. In this case, the participation rate is as high as 80% over that 3-year period. But we're not done there. Then we waited after the event. We put 50% of your client's money retroactively into the best performer of those 3 indices, 30% in the second best and 20% in the third. So think about this for a second. What's the story? The story would be, for your clients to say, gosh, I don't know when to be where, or I don't want to think about managing money here, or annually picking and choosing and moving these things around. Well, this might be a good option for some of the money because, number one, you're getting the benefit of 3 indices. We're going to take the volatility out of it. We're going to give you a heck of a high participation rate, uncapped, and we're going to it's almost like betting on the horse race after it's been run. Retroactively, we're going to put 50% of your money in whichever of those three that does best, 3 years ago. After the event, we're going to put, retroactively 50% of your deposit into whatever did best. So it's a great story for people. I think they can relate, and that resonates with them for a portion of the money. And finally, this inversion strategy. I kind of set you up thinking, what in the heck is this? Well, it uses the S&P 500. It's an annual point-to-point with a cap. The cap is high as 8 3/4. But how this works is if the S&P goes down, your account value goes up. It turns declines into an advantage. It might be a short-term strategy when your client thinks the S&P is really high, maybe an all-time high, and they see a correction in the future. Well, I'm going to put a little bit in this inversion strategy, so if the market goes down, I win. It's a great hedge, again, for a small portion of the client's investment. So client bill of right number 6, the right to capitalize on what's going on around us in the world. Well, with all these unique strategies, you're going to be able to take advantage of different and variety of markets. It battles these changing markets. You got gold and real estate and S&P. Good diversity. You can diversify between all those different holdings. We have many uncapped participation rate strategies, so you can capitalize on that. There's no ceiling. And then finally, the right to guarantee. I didn't mention it, I don't believe, but in addition to those 7 strategies, there's also a fixed bucket, fixed interest account, right around 2.25 to 2.75% this month. You have that strong minimum guarantee of 1 on 100. By the way, the optimizer fee of 1% or 1.25, whatever, that does not come out of the minimum guarantee. So if you put in $100,000 and the market goes south for 10 straight years, no gains, your client would still have $110,400 in their account after 10 years. So it doesn't dip into that fee. And the other thing is the fee will not change once you sign a contract. So it can't go from 1% to 2% to 3%. It can't raise or go down. The 1 or 1.25% fee will be that way the life of the contract. We can't offer annuitization after the 5th year. You can actually do a 5x5 annuitization if you ever felt the need to do that. I don't know why you would, but it is an option. A couple other facts. Price of entry is not too bad. You can get in with as little as $5,000 non-qualified deposit or even $2,000 qualified money. So obviously it's a good market for a small IRA, a Roth, a SEP. There's no MVA whatsoever associated with this on the surrender charge schedule. The non-bonus products issue out to age 85. And the bonus versions with that dual bonus, those products go to age 80. Just a little difference there you need to be aware of. Remember, full commission all the way to age 80 also. There is waiver of confinement. If your client ends up in a facility, needs some money, we'll waive the surrender charges so they can get at their money. After all, it is their money. And then index gains credit to the date of death. That's very important in this particular product because there's 2-year resets and 3-year resets. And if the client were to pass away kind of in the middle, didn't make it to the reset, we actually credit gains to the date of death for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So that's a very nice thing to know. Might want to share that at point of sale. It's just one more client feature. Commissions. There we go. Waited a long time for that, didn't we? The 7-year product pays 7%. The 10-year product pays 8% commissions, 0 to age 80. A little bit less once you get over age 80. In the light states, it's a 7% commission. And in the light states with the dual bonus, it's 6.5%. So there's your full commission schedule. Some states are a little different. I mean, you want to check the quick reference sheet or call our friends at Great Plains, and they can give you the whole story in every single state. But that's generally speaking what the commissions are. A little ad here. I thought I'd just give you a sample of some of the advertising that we put together. This is around that 7-year version of the product. It's kind of the winning combination. 7-year surrender, 7 strategies, 7% commission with an underlying guarantee of 1% on 3% of the deposit, that kind of thing. Another thing that might be more important to you as the writing agent is we put together these 3 pieces called the Power Of series. You can use this at point of sale, actually. They're compliance approved. They're free to you. We can actually personalize it to you if you'd like. Put your name and logo on there as an agent. Sorry, the one on the left is the Power of Multi-Year Strategies. Talks about maybe why this 2-year point-to-point would outperform other traditional multi-year strategies. The middle one is on the dual bonus and how that works and how powerful that is, where we can turn that bonus into 24%, hypothetically. And then the one on the right is the power of the participation rate conversation. It compares our participation rate to some of the others out there that are a little lower and what that can mean in real dollars over time. Those are free to you. Target client, who would you get in front of? Well, how about a younger client who wants to open an IRA? They only have $2,000. We'll take that. Younger clients with a long retirement horizon as far as time goes to help respond to different markets. They got all these strategies to play with over many years. The opposite is true also. You know, these older folks, catch-up clients, they didn't do any planning. Now they need to retire and make up a lot of accumulation money quickly. Well, hopefully with the high caps and the dual bonus, we can help them out there. And any client who doesn't want an income rider just hates the idea of being forced to have an income rider when they don't want it. There's no income rider with Liberty Mark. Just in closing here, licensing and contracting do's and don'ts. You need a contract with both Legacy and Americo, and again, Great Plains can take care of all that for you. You mail all those contracts to Legacy, and you will have access to the Legacy Liberty Mark product we built for Americo and their shelf products, their final expense, their life insurance, all these other products that they have. But please don't forget to take that product training. It's a very brief online, look at some slides, answer some questions prior to solicitation. The carrier is pretty stringent on that one, so just get that out of the way right away. New business, of course, is processed directly with Americo in their Kansas City office. However, our Legacy team is available to assist you with front-end suitability questions. If you have any new business questions, we can help you out with that as well. We can track it, you know, when it's in the mill, the status of your case. We can look all that up on our, and you can as well on our website to track new business status, get all the forms you need. Legacy does pay commissions to you, the writing agent, and provides all the product training and marketing. So we're still a one-stop shop when it comes to working with Americo. The only difference is you actually physically mail the new business to their offices. What states are we in? It looks like just about all of them. There's a couple more out there. Think of what's outstanding here. I don't see Ohio on there yet. Well, we got the big ones. You know, we got Texas and California and Florida. So most states have already approved this product. A couple others are lingering, but soon to be on board with this, I would hope. So the quick summary again is it's a Legacy exclusive on a highly rated carrier. Not one, but two premium bonuses, 5% up front, 10% on the accumulated value in year 10. Unique strategies, 7 of them. 4 are totally uncapped, but you have a strong baseline guarantee of 1 on 100. The optimizer fee helps us pay for all these upgrades. Full commission to you through age 80 with no MVA to worry about. And again, a capital A in accumulation, no income rider. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our friends at Great Plains. I want to thank you so much for having me on today's call. Their number, 800-710-1115 to get that contract taken care of first. If you had a question, don't forget to put it in the dialog box on the right-hand side of your screen. We still have time to answer a couple questions. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brad and Rob, and thank you so much.
Hey, Craig, and we do have a couple of questions for you. These are back on. I think both of these relate to the bonus. Mm-hmm. And the first question, I'm just going to read. You mean they can withdraw all funds free of surrender fee, including the 10% bonus at the end of 10 years?
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know why someone would walk after they just got a 10% bonus, but they are certainly able to. It's a 10-year surrender charge schedule, and there's no vesting on that bonus. So you get the bonus, you're free to go.
Okay, and then the second question, if the client dies during years 1 to 10, will the beneficiaries get any portion of the 10% persistency bonus?
No, you got to be alive and make it to the 10th year.
Okay. All right, good enough. Thank you so much. We've got a question from Kelly. Are there any trail commission options?
No, I'm afraid there's not a trail commission option. Commissions are pretty generous up front, as high as 8% there all the way through age 80, but we don't have a trail commission option on this product. Carrier does, though. They're charging that 1% every year. It's almost like a trail commission for them.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Craig, for presenting today and walking us through this new opportunity. I want to thank everybody for attending. Again, we'll get the webinar posted out there just as soon as we get the recording back. And please call your Great Plains Annuity Marketing Specialist. As Craig said, we can get you contracting paperwork, answer any additional questions you've got, and walk you through these benefits and features. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day.